Our next President's Medal of Excellence winner and today's keynote speaker was also inspired by a daughter named Stefani to discover her life's calling. Cynthia Bissett Germanotta could easily have settled into a life of luxury and ease as her daughter, better known as Lady Gaga, shot to stardom. But Cynthia knew that Lady Gaga's success was rooted in years of personal struggle. The unique personality, creativity, and renegade style that made Lady Gaga a distinctive artist did not always win her admirers as a child or adolescent. Instead, Lady Gaga was the victim of bullying and cruelty from her peers. Cynthia had felt increasingly helpless as she watched her daughter grow anxious, depressed, and self-destructive. Seeing news reports about bullying, homophobia, and teen suicide, Cynthia and Lady Gaga realized how many families experience similar struggles. So they leveraged personal success into an opportunity to make a world of difference. In 2012, they founded the Born This Way Foundation with the stated mission to, quote, support the wellness of young people and empower them to create a kinder and braver world. They are accomplishing their mission. In just 5 years, the foundation has helped and comforted hundreds of thousands of young people around the country. And it is working to transform the culture of bullying and harassment into a culture of compassion, care, and respect. As the foundation's president, Cynthia guides relationships with students, schools, dozens of institutional community partners, and with researchers dedicated to the science and psychology of wellness. Cynthia, you have inspired the wonderful daughter you raised and millions of others to make the world a better place. It's now my honor to call on a proud member of the Born This Way Foundation's Research Advisory Board, our own Dr. Marla Prasad, a TC professor of psychology and education and director of clinical training for our PhD program in school psychology, to present Cynthia with the President's Medal.
Cynthia Germanotta, the world owes you a great debt for how you've raised your daughter, Stefani, AKA Lady Gaga. And you have fostered her remarkable talent and creativity, but also you have created and led the Born This Way Foundation. The foundation's mission is to foster kindness, and it speaks to our era. The internet gives new form to bullying and homophobia, but with research showing increasing tolerance that's become more toxic since the highly contested presidential election, the Born This Way Foundation is assessing the gaps between how students want to feel and how they actually feel. The foundation's remarkable Emotion Revolution study, conducted with the Yale Center for Emotional Intelligence, is reminding us that to help students succeed, we must take care of the whole child, that young people who are lonely, hopeless, and afraid may disengage from school, and that emotions can determine a young person's decision-making, academic achievement, and well-being. Ultimately, the Born This Way Foundation creates community. Through Lady Gaga's courageous disclosure of PTSD, through its Share Your Story web feature, by issuing a challenge with the Dalai Lama, taking America's mayors to, challenging America's mayors to commit acts of kindness, through its Born This Way bus, which informs youth about local mental health resources in combination with tours, and through a new program that you will hear more about shortly, Channel Kindness. Cynthia Germanotta, your daughter's success reflects her parents' hard work. But nothing could say more about your own success, both as a mother and as the visionary behind the Born This Way Foundation, than through these iconic lyrics that your daughter wrote in tribute to you. My mama told me when I was young, we are all born superstars. She rolled my hair, put my lipstick on in the glass of her boudoir. There's nothing wrong with loving who you are, she said, 'cause he made you perfect, babe. So hold your head up, girl, and you'll go far. Listen to me when I say, I'm beautiful in my way, because God makes no mistakes. I'm on the right track. Baby, I was born this way. Cynthia, for conveying and cultivating that message, not only to Stefani, but to young people everywhere throughout the world, given your daughter's global reach. We proudly present you with the Teachers College President's Medal of Excellence. Thank you so much.
Good morning, everyone. As they said, I'm Cynthia Germanotta, president and co-founder of Born This Way Foundation. And I want to thank you, President Perelman, for the wonderful introduction. And on the behalf of the foundation and my daughter Stefani, who many of you know as Lady Gaga, thank you to Teachers College and Columbia University for this immense honor. Born This Way Foundation just celebrated its 5th anniversary. And it's such a wonderful affirmation of our work to be recognized for this award. I also want to deeply thank Professor Marla Broussard, Dr. Broussard. Not only is she a leader here at Columbia, Born This Way Foundation is lucky enough to have her as an active research advisory board member. Her decades of experience in advocating for the welfare of children is integral to supporting our mission. I also want to thank that wonderful choir. Their mission of, I think, final words and lyrics of holding each other up is a wonderful start, not only to this day, to the type of future that we need to build together. I also want to thank all of you for joining us today. And I want to thank my daughter Stefani and also my daughter Natalie. One thing I want to share with you, Stefani said to me a few months ago, she said, Mom, of course I want to be remembered for my music, but what I want to be remembered the most for is helping people. And that gives me great pride in both of my children. You know, of course, we're all proud of our children and the talent that they have, but I'm most proud that they are good people and that they want to give back to society. A little bit of background on our foundation. My daughter and I founded Born This Way Foundation on a very, very simple mission of building a kinder and a braver world, which I said to her when she mentioned that. I said, that's wonderful, but it's also daunting. You're talking about a cultural shift, a behavior change. How do we measure it? Her response to me was, Mom, if it was easy, somebody would have done it already. So she wasn't having it. That's the world that can only be realized when we embrace the things that make each other unique and when we celebrate, instead of fear, our differences. Susan Furman, you referred earlier to Stefani being taunted and having struggles. She was unique. She is unique. And that wasn't always appreciated by her fears. It's something that affected her very deeply to this day. It has followed her throughout her life. It is something that she struggles with on a daily basis. She had the resilience somehow. I mean, we all come to a fork in the road in our lives that can be defining. It's a defining moment. Somehow, you know, with help, courage, resilience, she took a better path and is using her voice for good through our foundation. And it's a goal that will take everyone working together to bring this to fruition. But at Born This Way Foundation, we recognize the same thing that everyone in this room knows, that young people hold the key to driving that change. Today's young people are diverse, this incredible group of new students, and congratulations to you, in their backgrounds, their personal experiences, and their identities. Young people are compassionate, generous, determined to lead lives that are not defined by personal gain, but by genuine meaning. They passionately believe that progress is possible, and they are creative, collaborative problem solvers. So when Born This Way thinks about how to build a kinder and a braver world, we start with young people. It was incredibly important to my daughter that young people feel that they are part of, own, and are building this mission. This is the generation that will carry us forward in the future. So we very much come at our work from a preventive position of building a next generation that is equipped to handle those struggles and build the kinder and braver world that she and we all envision. We focus first and foremost on supporting their well-being, on giving them the tools, resources, and support they need to lead healthy, thriving lives, and on empowering them to be forces of good in their communities. And we do this by taking an approach that prioritizes both the critical value of rigorous academic research and with the power of individual stories to change hearts and minds. I see quite an alignment between our organizations, President Furman, in that you talked earlier about respect and appreciation and bias and understanding that and making a world of difference. We too are committed to that, as well as research and collaboration. So I'd like to spend a moment just talking about listening to young people. Fundamentally, I think to achieve where we want to be, we need to listen to young people themselves, whether through surveys and other research mechanisms or by giving them opportunities to share their voices. We need to listen to what young people have to tell us. So often as well-meaning adults, we talk at instead of to young people. We're older, we have more experience, right? We know what we're talking about. We know what's best. And there are certainly times that's true, and we can bring our experience to light in a helpful way. But it can also shut down true communication. At Born This Way Foundation, we understand that being talked at is inherently disempowering, and that when we fail to listen to what young people are saying, we're sending the signal that their opinions and themselves are not valued, that their feelings aren't important, that their ideas aren't wanted. This is counterproductive when our goal should be preparing young people to start stepping up, to become both healthy, self-sufficient adults and productive members of communities. That means we have to ask for their input and then actually listen to the answer. We have to give them platforms to make their voices heard, and we have to find out what they need to be successful, rather than just assuming we know what's best. Some supporting research that will hopefully set the stage for a program I'm going to talk about, Dr. Broussard actually referenced. We conducted a study at Yale of over 20,000 high school students, and we basically asked them 3 questions. How do you feel in school? How do you want to feel? And what's preventing you from feeling that way? Overwhelmingly, the top 3 things that students were feeling was tired, bored, and stressed. 80% of our respondents. How they wanted to feel was happy, engaged, and energized. We spend our time trying to bridge that gap and find out how to get them from how they're feeling now to where they want to and should feel in school. There are endless ways to do this, but I want to share with you just one example of how Born This Way is following through on this commitment, and it's called Channel Kindness, aptly named by a wonderful volunteer that we have named Emma, who has been in a wheelchair her entire life and has chosen to dedicate her time and talent to helping Born This Way Foundation. So Channel Kindness is our latest project. It was launched on Stefani's birthday, March 28th, so just last week, I guess. And it's a new digital platform for featuring stories of kindness, compassion, and that's documented by young people around the United States. We've recruited an amazing group of 50 aspiring youth journalists aged 16 to 24, and it is their goal, desire to identify and document these incredible stories that shape their communities and also define their generation. Our goal for Channel Kindness is twofold. First, it's a platform for young people to empower themselves by telling their own stories in their own words. They're a very diverse, passionate, and collaborative generation. They're problem solvers who are driving positive change in their communities. But most media coverage talks about young people negatively if they're included at all these days. We hear how apathetic they are, how selfish they are, and even how violent they are. One study found that almost half of these news stories about young people were about crime, with African American and Hispanic young people even more likely to be included in this type of coverage. And as most of you know today, this really doesn't truly reflect this generation. There's a lot more promise than what we hear. So it's not surprising that young people are dissatisfied with the way they're portrayed in the media. Another survey found that 80% of young people think they are unfairly portrayed or misrepresented, I should say, in the press. And many feel that negative coverage is holding them back, including their success in college and in the job market. So Channel Kindness is an opportunity for young people to tell a different story, one that captures their optimism for the future and their dedication to making the world a better place. So one, we have the platform. Second, Channel Kindness is a counterbalance to the negativity, to the negative coverage that is really overwhelming the media landscape in general today. The media spends a lot of time talking about what's going wrong in the world. And as someone who was raised to respect the vital role of investigative journalism, I believe in the importance of holding people accountable and shining a light on things that need improvement, and this is one. News is not only true when it's bad, however, but too often the negative issues and the negative stories are the ones that get the most attention. That's not productive. It leaves people feeling hopeless, like there's no point at all in even trying things, especially young people, because defeat is inevitable. So we want Channel Kindness to be a place for stories about what's going right, about the people who are stepping up and making their communities stronger, and about the endless ways that people are compassionate, accepting, and generous. We know from research that kindness is contagious. When you see someone else doing good, you want to do good yourself. I believe, Phyllis, you referenced that this morning, that people are innately good, and if given the opportunity, they will do good. I share that belief with you. And there is more good in the world to show examples of than people are actually seeing. It's a tool, Channel Kindness, for not just amplifying, but multiplying positive change in our communities, inspiring people to understand how they can take these lessons back into their own lives. The site has only been live for a couple of weeks, but it is already in full swing with incredible stories of kindness, big and small. It's being embraced in the media. We are cross-posting on Huffington Post. We've had interest from a lot of the media outlets. I had the good fortune of being on Fox Morning News with Maria Bartiromo to discuss it. So we are so happy that people are taking note. One of our reporters, Tyra Majors from San Diego, made a video profiling what's called the Princess Project. It's a nonprofit started by several young women to donate prom dresses to underprivileged and mentally disabled girls. Another, Charlie Colon, from right here in New York City, wrote about a man who anonymously gave $500 when his mother passed away, just days before Christmas. She tracked down and interviewed this man and found out that he wanted to make sure that she could still have the Christmas that her mom would have wanted her to have. I want everyone in this room, please take a moment, go to channelkindness.org and read these stories. You'll be happy, you'll feel inspired. These young people understand the power of kindness and compassion, and they have a thing or two to teach us about it. So I challenge you to think about how you can bring more kindness into your classrooms, into your offices, and into your lives. Regarding the power of collaboration, I too was inspired when Susan Furman talked about the cross-organizational effort that you have going on here at Teachers College to promote change. Born This Way Foundation's mission and work is rooted in our belief that young people have the power to be change agents in their own lives and communities, but it's our obligation to support that. I've always felt and said, I don't care how many followers my daughter has, helping young people is far greater than one individual or one organization. I talk about an open tent approach. Let's hold hands and do this together and amplify one another's work. What we can bring to the table is that scale and amplification. Think of us as a giant megaphone. She says a lot, Stefani says, use me, use my voice. Let's amplify our work, but let's do it together. And we believe that it's society's obligation to support young people fully with access to quality education, with a diverse array of resources to meet their needs, and with genuine opportunities. Our foundation's committed to being part of this network of support, and we recognize we can't do it on our own, nor can any other organization. We look forward to working with others, to learning and sharing best practices and lessons learned. And so our success can build on each other, magnify our progress rather than duplicate wonderful programs that already exist in the marketplace. And that's why a key element of our work is collaboration and its strategic partnerships. These allow us to reach farther than we ever thought we could alone. So I have a second challenge for you, and that is to collaborate, which you're already doing. So I'm very, very happy to hear that. But it's so important. Work with one another, listen to one another, work with people you know, and reach out to people that you normally would not work with. A new perspective is refreshing. And I spent over 25 years in the corporate world. I think that's why Stefani had some confidence in me to work with her to build this organization, but I did not understand the philanthropic space, so I'm still studying it. I've seen silos here and there, but one thing that has surprised me is there is so much good happening in the world that people don't know about. So we try to shine the light on that incredible work that's out there in the world. So break out of your silos and go see the good. We'll make the greatest progress when we collaborate. So concluding, I know that you have a wonderful program planned for today. I would really, really love to take some questions. That's my favorite part. I want to thank you again for this incredible honor. I would never have imagined 5 years ago when we started this that I would be standing here today before an incredible group of educators, students, and so on. My daughter and I launched this foundation because we truly believe that the world can be a kinder and braver place. We believe that we can do this together. It will take time, but we believe that this generation wants this type of change. And our faith in this mission is steadfast. And looking out at all of you today, I'm so inspired to be reminded of how many others share that belief and the dedication toward creating that reality. So thank you very much for this extraordinary honor and your time today. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Cynthia.
So some questions.
We are so grateful that you are here today to share more about the work that you're doing at the Born This Way Foundation. And we're very grateful to the remarks you made and to the example that you're setting. And we do second the challenge and encourage you to make this a braver and kinder world. We have asked our little monsters and our TC community virtually to submit some questions in advance. So I know we're running a little bit tight on time, but we want to just get through a couple. So I'll start off with our first question sent by email. As the mother of Lady Gaga, a woman who changed the view of difference and norms, what is the major challenge you faced as a parent?
Many. I used to tell my children, I didn't get a manual with you. I'm really sorry. I can't go to page 12. And my greatest challenge was not being equipped to know the warning signs when they were in trouble. I think, and maybe this will challenge, and maybe Marla, we can speak to Dr. Noble, who I heard about earlier, but I believe there's a place for neuroscience in education and in school. I did not understand as a parent the difference between normal biological behavior of an adolescent's growth and a true psychological issue or problem. I was not equipped for that, and I grew up in a time where it was buck up, right? Suck it up and move on, plow forward. We don't live in a time like that any longer. So I was really challenged in that space. I'm a huge proponent of integrating neuroscience into education and training so that parents and teachers alike are better equipped to understand those differences.
And one final question. How do you think that Lady Gaga's childhood and her sister Natalie's childhood and teenage years would have been different had social media been as ubiquitous then as it is now?
Could have been even worse, I will say. Stefani had struggles throughout her life. As I mentioned, she was unique. The social media part of it, most of it was face-to-face at that time, right? Let me defame your locker or throw you in a trash can, right? These are things that truly happened to her. When she entered college, Facebook, was coming about, and her peers started a Facebook page called Stefani Germanotta Will Never Be Famous. So, the problem now, when I grew up, if I was bullied, and we all had something happen, but I could go home and close my door. It follows us now. 70%, 7 out of 10 young people are bullied online. They're harassed online. This is an epic issue. It's something that we spend a lot of time working on. I'll give you a sneak peek of some of our research. There is a huge I think people believe that cyberbullying has replaced face-to-face bullying. It hasn't. There's just another place to go for this to happen. So we're propagating that type of behavior. So we have learned that type of harassment has not been replaced. So I think in some ways it could have been worse because of that, but it exists. We're spending a great deal of time on a wonderful partnership that is called Hack Harassment, that is working on reducing the frequency and severity of online harassment.
Well, we thank you and Stefani, Lady Gaga's power for being able to make social media a positive place. And we look forward to joining you and adding our kindness to social media and to the internet and all of the wonderful community. So ladies and gentlemen, one more round of applause for Cynthia Germanotta. Thank you so much for being here. We're looking forward to so much more collaboration with Born This Way Foundation and Cynthia and Stefani. Thank you.